Alrighty. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Anyone that may stumble across this video here, I am super honored to be hanging out with Carlos Pullup. It's great to have you here, man. I
No, I'm
obviously
honored.
am a
I'm
huge
honored.
fan. Like Lin Pease, Win Pease, Hacktricks, your name is everywhere. And I think hopefully the audience, anyone tuning in, would be super interested in what you're up to, man. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, man. I'm very excited to be here. Well, I'm gonna be showing some new previous escalation tool I have created.
Ooh,
This time, this is for the cloud. It's not for any operating system because, well, lately I have been playing around with a lot of different clouds, software platforms, and so on. So I'm very excited to show this to the community, and I hope people will like it and use it.
well, am flattered to kind of help offer, I don't know, the announcement or the unveiling, the debut, the release of this thing. I know you were telling me, hey, it's kind of been a soft launch out on your GitHub, but I am just very honored to help kind of bring this and let you, I don't know, sing the praises of all your hard work. What kind of, if I may ask, before we dive into the tech and the fun stuff, what kind of spawned this? Is the work that you do in the cloud environment something because of work, something because of, hey, just what environments you seem to find yourself in these days? What's got this brewing in your mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. Everything started because of work, and I just enjoy it, man. I just found that I think that, well, in the future, not currently, a lot of companies are using more and more cloud, but out there you cannot find any proper tool that you can use once you leak a token, once you find this piece of information. You're going just to try common attacks, maybe try to SSAs, maybe try to read some buckets, but I couldn't find any tool out there that lets you know, hey, you can do all of this and you can previous escalate to all these ways. And if you previous escalate here, you can do all of these things. So I was missing that bit, like, how can I properly defend my company if I don't really know what each people can do?
Awesome. And I'm glad that you kind of mentioned that there wasn't a tool for that yet, because what you've done already with LinPeas and with WinPeas, right, has it become the go-to de facto tooling for enumeration, for privilege escalation, and all those other aspects. So I am super excited for you to get in the weeds here and tell us all about what this new thing is. Do you think we need any more background, or are you totally cool with, hey, sharing your screen and we can get into it?
I prepare some slides just for
Awesome.
some introduction on this, so
Yeah.
I can just show my screen.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. First of all, I want to clarify something. This is a panda. This is not a cat.
It is a panda. Confirmed panda.
It's a panda. It is because there is this little animal that is called red panda, which looks exactly like this, but
Yeah.
more like brown red instead of purple. And I choose that this animal to represent this tool because it is an animal, is the first animal that appear in Google when I search for animal that eat peas. And
Ooh.
I wanted to do this because I have been focusing lately the piece in be able to find tokens, API keys, and passwords. So the idea is that you're going to be able to compromise a system. You're going to find these tokens, but hey, who is going to ingest these tokens? I hope that PurplePanda will ingest them. That's the reason behind the animal and the piece and all these
I
things.
love it. That's awesome.
Um, okay, so what is PurplePanda? Well, I have already explained some things. So obviously, if you're in a red team, you're going to be able to capture some tokens, compromising IPC via server-side request forgery, finding leaks, whatever. If you're in a blue team, you can just get the token with the needed privilege. So the idea is, okay, I have this token and I want to know what can I do with this token. And moreover, I want to know what can everybody do inside the organization. But well, let's continue. I'm getting excited. So what is PurplePanda? So the goal of PurplePanda is not just, hey, what can I do? Hey, what everybody can do in this environment. The goal is to say, hey, what can this single person do in all these different cloud, SaaS applications, third-party applications? That's the goal. So I'm not just going to be looking for interesting things or previous escalation things, maybe in Kubernetes, maybe in GCP, maybe in GitHub, unless everything is supported at the moment. We will talk about that later. But I'm also interested in knowing, okay, I can bypass this branch protection in GitHub, and I already capture a token from GCP, and I know this cloud function is using the code from GitHub. So as you can bypass the branch protection, you can change the code that is going to be run in a cloud functions that is going to be run with a service account attached. So ideally, you can previously escalate to that service account from a platform to another one. That's the idea, to know not only inside each platform, but also across platforms. And I really love when it finds something like that.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So as I have already said, I'm supporting at the moment GCP, GitHub, and Kubernetes with GKA include. And I wanted to put this because it has been really annoying. Last weekend, I just prepared this. This means that I'm going to try to enumerate all the clusters in GCP. And if I find something, I'm going to automatically launch PurplePanda against the Kubernetes cluster. So it's going to be automatically analyzed everything inside the GCP. And it just gave me a lot of headaches because I was mixing clusters, I was mixing service accounts, so I wasn't really finding everything. And I'm happy to say that yesterday evening I managed to fix that problem. So
Awesome.
that's okay.
Right on time.
Right on time, exactly. Cool. So how to use it? This is basically a big Python script connected to a Neo4j database, so we can see everything in graphs. So what you need is just to read the README, where you can see how to install Python, requirements, everything you need. You need also to install Neo4j desktop. This is because this is going to automatically install you the Neo4j database, but also other tools like Neo4j Bloom, which is what we are going to use to inspect the database. Then obviously you need some token for the platforms you want to analyze. Actually, I want to show some example for people.
Pulling up the repository. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, of course, everyone can find it in GitHub. So if you go to Intel, you're going to find all the platforms that are currently supported. And in the README of each platform, you're going to find this kind of information about how can I pass the token to PurplePanda. Well, you can do it, you must do it with environmental variables. And here you have all the information you can use. So in GitHub, you can specify the token, username, password, or just what you have. You have username and password, specify both. If you have a token, just specify that. The URL in case you need the URLs, the organization name in case you want to inspect just that organization. But everything is in the README and everything is in the help, so everyone can find that. You just need to base64 encode this YAML, export it, and you can just run PurplePanda. It will catch all the information. I will try to connect to GitHub. Same thing with Kubernetes, same thing with GCP, with their own tokens, obviously. So, okay. And once you have all these things, something I want to highlight a lot, you need to have knowledge about what you are doing, and you need to have knowledge about the cloud you're attacking, about the information you expect to have, and you need to be able to understand what you are going to be looking at. Yeah, like a lot of people has told me like, hey, I have launched this piece and I see all these red things. What should I do? Obviously, my go-to is read Hacktricks. That's why Hacktricks is there. But totally. Man, you should read. I don't know if you agree, but you should read Hacktricks first and then launch the tool. Just understand what you are doing.
I think that obviously absolutely goes hand in hand. Like, again, using WinPeas and LinPeas as an example, like, sure, it can give you the blinking bright red alert. Hey, we see some dangling TMUX sessions or some cron jobs you could exploit. You just kind of have to know what to do with those and how to do that then. But I'm excited to see, hey, PurplePanda will already lay the foundation and set out the stage for you. Then it's a matter of you going through and going on the offense.
Yeah, and also please don't, if you have a false positive, don't get mad at me. Like, there is some people that just see this red yellow thing and they're like, hey man, you promised me this was a privileged escalation vector. And like, man, not always, it's just a regex.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Anyway, so I'm going to continue with the spam. So
Yeah.
obviously in hack tricks, you have this
Nice.
at some point in hack tricks, you have this cloud security section where you can find GCP security, GitHub security, Kubernetes security. So I will definitely recommend to learn about this, read about this, specifically these abuse permissions, or in GitHub, this section about how to bypass branch protections. This is actually pretty funny. And same with Kubernetes, you're going to find another abusing roles, how to privilege escalates, and all these things that I don't remember. I don't know if you remember about that competition from Hack the Box, the Lash Machine.
I do. I remember
Yeah, man.
Kubernetes all the way there.
I haven't touched Kubernetes in so long, and I should have been doing this for work. I felt very bad. So after that competition, I start creating this part of Factrix.
Well, hey, I before we move away from Hacktrix, I just want to say congratulations on such an incredible, immense, like gold mine of knowledge in cybersecurity and offensive work. Whether it's pen testing, whether it's bug bounty, whether it's anything with vulnerabilities and this work here. Honestly, Hacktrix is like the one-stop shop for just about everything. So kudos, incredible, congratulations, and props
Thank
to
you,
you.
man. Thank you very much. I'm very happy when people say such things. There is a lot of work behind this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's get started with the fun, I think.
Let's
Cool.
do it.
Yeah. So GitHub. Okay, so when I was started using PurplePanda, I found that graphs are awesome. Graphs are really awesome.
Yeah.
But when you want to investigate, like, hey, I want to know all the names of the repos, of the names of whatever that has these conditions, and you get presented all these little balls, and you need to be clicking one by one to copy paste their name, that's not awesome. And in order to find weird things, you need to do a lot of that like, okay, give me all the pods that are publicly exposed, or okay, give me all the secrets to get the names and find weird ones. So what PurplePanda is going to do, if you use the -d parameter specifying a directory, is once everything has been analyzed, is going to run some prepared cipher queries in Neo4j that is going to give you several CSVs with some highlights, like, hey man, start taking a look to these tables, and once you know what you want to search, start investigating in the graph too. So I want to show some examples. For example, in GitHub,
do you mind amping up some of the text size, the font size in the browser here? We zoom in a bit.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry. Thank you.
No. Thank you. I didn't remember that part.
Good.
So these are the queries that are going to be run once PurplePanda has finished for GitHub. So here we are going to search, like, okay, tell me where each GitHub secret is used, or in which repo its leak appear, or other things like misconfigure code owners. Get me all the principals that can merge in mirrored repos, which are other repos in other clouds that are using GitHub repos, or just give me previous escalation. And this is going to be presented to you in a table, like this way. So I'm going to search, for example, where its leak appear, which is this query.
Gotcha.
As I told you, PurplePanda is going to create these CSVs, but now I'm going to be using the Neo4j console to take a look to the table.
We can see the graph. Absolutely.
So in this case, this is the CSV that is going to be presented. Obviously, the data was anonymized, or however you pronounce that. So here you will find actually the token, and here you will find the repos where the token, secrets, whatever appear. So these are the kind of pre-analysis PurplePanda is going to present you. So for example, this one is an interesting one. Yeah, I cannot do that. I need to search. Okay. Cool. So here what we will see in our rural environment is like where can each user merge into the branch. And this is, and maybe not a lot of people know, and there are these things called branch protections, of course. There are some ways to bypass them. My favorite one is to use the default write privilege in Gitbot tokens. So you can just create a branch with an action, get a reversal, and use the Gitbot token to approve your own pull request. So if you just need one approve, if you have just write privilege over the repo, you can bypass that branch protection.
That's wild.
So, and that's something PurplePanda is searching, and will let you know, like, hey, you can bypass this branch protection by doing this. We will see that. And cool. And we are going to start seeing some graphs. Again, PurplePanda has some queries prepared. The only problem with Neo4j Bloom, which is something you can access in, this is Neo4j desktop. So you create here a database, you connect, you populate it with PurplePanda, wherever, and then you just press in this Neo4j Bloom. Unfortunately, if I want to share like some kind of way to automate the load of all these queries, I will need to be using the paid version, and you will need to be using the paid version. So the best thing I can do is just give you here all the queries I have thought about.
Gotcha.
So you can just copy, paste the title, the query, the description. You just go here, copy paste that one.
Nice.
And then you can just use it as long as you want. So in this case, this is what I told you, like, if you want to see the leaks, you will probably prefer to see a table instead of just coming here.
Right. Seeing all the nodes on their own. Gotcha.
I can tell you something. At some point, you are like, have I already searched this ball?
That's true. Just polka dots.
So yeah, that's why the tables are there. But obviously the graphs are pretty useful for other things. Like here we can see the secrets. Okay, like let's check the secrets I can steal.
Right.
So this is something interesting about Neo4j Bloom. Here you can see I put Carlos Pollock. Obviously in the search, my name isn't specified, but just this variable. So you can just search for any other GitHub user, and that's what I like about Neo4j Bloom. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah. Can I ask, and I don't, if you have a huge data set, will it sort of auto suggest potential usernames or things you could fill in, or it's not that smart yet?
No, is unfortunately it's not that smart.
Cool.
That's the idea of the tables, I guess. Like you just try to find if you're a red team, find your username and you start using your username. But yeah, man, I agree. Like the interface is my biggest to do. Well, that's an integrating AWS. But I'm not really good programming these kind of weird things. You can figure that out from the piece stuff. So I don't know when that is going to come.
No, I'm blown away by what you already have here already. So excited for all this. And it looks awesome when it has all the node graph connections.
Yeah, that's the best part. So obviously I search all the GitHub secrets Carlos Pollock can steal. And here, well, I'm in the center. And these are all the secrets I could steal. So if I get this one, well, here you will be able to see the name. You can search for maybe, I don't know, AWS token. Yeah, probably get that one. And here, if I manage to click, okay, this reason, you always are going to find the reason why you can do this. So in this case, it means like, hey, you can write to the repo. This was anonymized again. But this means like, hey, if you can write to the repo, you can again create a new branch, put all these secrets in the workflow YAML and just get into that container and get the secret. And GitHub secrets aren't that secret, so I like that.
Sweet.
Again, let's search like, okay, I have compromised this weird guy with this weird name. Let's find out where I can merge. Well, I can merge in a lot of places. This means there is a difference. There are two relationships in PurplePanda. You can write or you can merge. Can write is you have write permissions. Can merge is you can bypass branch protection somehow and merge in there. So if I get some of this, well, in this case, reasons, admin can remove the protection, merge, and set it again. As I'm at admin, I can just bypass each branch protection. But you will find other things like the branch isn't protected, or admins are not enforced, or you just need one people to approve this branch protection, so you can use the Gitbot trick. And that's awesome because it is going to find all the techniques that you can find in hack tricks. I just love doing spam.
Nice.
And this is the interesting part. Let's see if I found any way. Like, okay, I have compromised. I need to reopen it. New thing. Okay, I have compromised this admin, but where can I go from GitHub? Like I'm not interested in GitHub. There is nothing interesting here.
Yeah.
So here I'm going to show all the principles in GitHub that I'm going to be able to escape to another cloud. In this case, this is me. I'm not going to open it because I have so much information here. It is going to froze again. That is something that happens with Neo4j. But I can escalate to this GCP service account. Why? Because I can just merge into this repo that is mirrored by the by a cloud function inside GCP that is using this service account. So it's awesome because just compromising GitHub, I can start compromising GCP. Wow. This is complicated to do because so many places can use GitHub, but it's not very clear how they are using it. And I need to investigate that manually, figure that out, and create the queries to the APIs to save the Neo4j database. And it's been a very long and painful process. Cool. So there are tens of other queries you can run and other highlights PurplePanda is going to get automatically, but I just wanted to do some of them so you can, well, find how interesting this can be. But let me know, man, how do you think about this GitHub thing? How is this going?
I think honestly that's super cool. I think all the time you just happen to see, okay, there was some leak, there was some secret that might have just been exposed, and the ability for you to kind of smartly tell given users what can you do, especially bypassing those branch protections, that then giving you the access into some other utility, GCP, Gkey, etc. That's very, very cool for it to just automatically seek out. I am curious, and I would ask, because I know obviously you're going to end up doing, truthfully, probably a lot of maintenance on this, the same way that you do with LinPs. With LinPs, it's all your other projects. Are you expecting, GitHub makes some change, and now that branch protection bypass technique isn't applicable? How can I ask, do you have a ton of faith or not in the solidity, the stable ground and framework this is built on? Weird question. Sorry.
No. It's a good one. At the end, what I'm trying to do with PurplePanda is not, okay, I this guy found this 0 day, I'm going to put it before they patch it.
Right.
I'm just trying to get the documentation of all these platforms and say like, okay, they say this is possible. So if I find it, this means that I'm going to be able. And actually in the documentation, you can find like that the default Gitbot token have write permissions. So it's not something I found. The documentation is there, unfortunately, because I couldn't submit it to the bug bounty program. So
wow.
So I guess they are stable enough.
Yeah.
We're going to see in Kubernetes and GCP, I have this YAML specifying the previous escalation vectors because I think they are going to change more and I need an easier way to do it. But actually GitHub is just Python because I don't expect them to change a lot of things.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Okay, so Kubernetes. Again, you go to the Kubernetes folder, and you're going to find these CSV queries. This is the highlights that PurplePanda is going to do automatically. Here you can find bigger queries. So we are going to take a look to some of them. So for example,
Now, is it
sure.
fair to say that this would have been an incredible, awesome help for that Hack the Box Battlegrounds tournament? Is that fair to say? Or
Oh man, I will have finished that box in 5 minutes.
exactly. Okay, cool. Now we see the value.
Yeah. Like when I saw the solution and I started investigating in Kubernetes, I was like, oh man, and that is going to be online.
Cool.
So yeah, it will have been. So for example, something that is not recommended to do, you should not be exposing somehow a pod that is privileged to the public, because then you have this love for sell things, people get into it, and you just have given all the cluster. If you have a default protection, everything is lost probably. So what is this query doing? Well, we are going to search Kubernetes services with public IPs, public domains, or Kubernetes ingresses. I'm going to search how they are linked to pods, and then we are going to select from all those pods which one are privileged, and I'm going to present you. Well, actually, this is going to happen in the graph. Here I'm going just to present you with a table of the pods that are privileged and are being publicly exposed, so you can just start digging more around them. So here we will see like, okay, this pod name has this ingress name related to this service. So if you're interested, like, why is this pod related to an ingress? Why this pod exposes? Well, this is a very easy way to find all these pods. I actually have a bunch of them that are exposed, man. This is not good. And how is a privileged pod defined? Well, I have defined a privileged pod as a pod that or is running as root. So maybe some zero day could be used to escape. You should never be running a pod by default with root. Or if you are giving it some kind of hostname permission, maybe some capabilities, maybe some host network, host PID, or maybe just the privilege flag that everybody loves to use. Yeah. So yeah, again, the goal is to just highlight some things that shouldn't be happening. For example, yeah, this one, principals that can previous to different namespaces. This is another thing you shouldn't be doing. I mean, it's pretty complicated in Kubernetes to not give some service accounts permission over other namespaces. For example, it's very common that kube system service accounts will have some kind of permission over other namespaces. But here you will be able to find if the data wasn't anonymized. Maybe you can see here like, okay, this weird name with this weird service account from the default service account have some privilege escalation technique over the kube system service account. Yeah, that's definitely bad. So you can just take a look to the table and find those out. But if you are in a red team, you probably don't have all this visibility, but you will potentially have some visibility about what you can do, what others can do, or how is the topology. And that's where the graphs are interesting. So here we are going to find, where is this? Okay, yeah. So again, you can go to how to use markdown of each platform, search for the query, which is going to be expose potentially here. Yeah, this is the one. Here you can find the query. Again, I'm sorry, but you will need to copy paste all these things into Neo4j Bloom. I have already done that. So once you have done it, you can just run it, and you can find how everything in this case, we are searching for all the pods that are exposed via services or ingresses. So this is fun because you can just see this ingress, which is related to this service, which is related to all these pods. I'm sure there is another query out there which says privileged pods, so we could see the information of the table, but just here in a very more beautiful, colorful way.
That's so cool.
But let's get into privilege escalation, which is the part that everybody loves the most.
Yeah.
Okay, so principles that can escape from a node. So why people may think, okay, why is so interesting about privilege escalation if you can just escape from a node? There are a bunch of things. You can maybe able to steal a new kubectl belonging to the node, so you get more privilege. You may be able to access privilege that the node has over other cloud, over the cloud where it is residing, so you can escalate privilege to the cloud. You can use this mirror pods technique to escalate privilege, or you can just go to hack tricks, and don't expect me to remember everything because that's what I do. I just go to hack tricks. So, okay. Well, and obviously I didn't say it. The main technique of escaping to the goal is that you are going to find maybe 10, 20 new pods in that node. You can steal their tokens, and that is going to be a token party out there.
Awesome.
So here we can find all the principles that I have found in the clusters that can escape to the node. And this basically means that this user can escape to the node. This is going to be related to some previous escalation technique, like potentially this node is going to be able to create a pod inside a namespace, so you can just create a previous pod and escape to the node. Again, PurplePanda is intelligent finding previous escalations, but there are so many different ways to protect a cloud or Kubernetes in this case. So if you have, for example, pod security policy, which people is going to kill me because they are deprecated, but if you have a pod security policy that says that you cannot create a privileged pod, PurplePanda is not going to detect that, and it's going to tell you that you can privilege escalate. So the only way to figure that out is either you find that pod security policy, or you just try and find out that you cannot do that. But I'm very open to pull request. I always say that, but it's complicated to
contributions
have people
welcome, and then it's always hard to do it.
Exactly. I mean, the code is completely beautiful, and people are going to understand it just looking at it.
Of course.
Yeah, John. I mean, limpies have improved a lot. A year ago, that was a real mess.
I remember cracking it open just to see, because it's fun. Hey, how does WinPeas, how does LinPeas, how does this stuff work? And it's like, oh, this is like, you were kidding. It's just a regex, man. It's one another, and I love it. It's so cool to see, though.
So other things that you can do, well, you can find, in this case, we are looking for service accounts for other namespaces that are going to be able to escalate to different namespaces. As everything is anonymized again, I can tell you that this namespace, I think, was the default one, but yeah, we cannot see that. But hey, gotcha. We can find that, okay, this service account which belongs to a different namespace, and this one is going to be able to escalate privilege to these service accounts. Wow. That belongs to this namespace that we have looked for it here. And always you're going to be able to find the reason. In this case, we have that the cluster role name assigned it by the binding name, fulfill the necessary previous permissions, wildcard, and well, yeah, you can just see that. So here you can see exactly the technique you need to look in order to escalate. And we can, yeah, and again, you have here your link to hack tricks. So people can just go to hack tricks and find the technique to escalate.
That's so cool.
And other stuff, the thing that I love the most is privilege escalate to AWS. As I have told you, man, I haven't yet introduced AWS stuff, but I already have investigated how you can grant Kubernetes permissions over AWS. So you can already see this, and you can see this madness. So this basically means that all these service accounts around here are going to be able to escalate to the service accounts that are in the middle, that I cannot put the mouse over because I just remember I forgot to anonymize the name of the iron role. So I'm not going to click that, but
Totally understood.
yeah, something that was hard to decide, and actually I want your opinion. At the beginning, because how Pythoneo, which is the library I'm using, works, I couldn't find any way to create two different relationships of the same time between the two same nodes. So I couldn't say like, you can previous escalate from here to here, this way, or this other way. And at the beginning, I was cool with it, like, okay, yeah, you just find one place, so you can just escalate. But it's true that some escalation techniques may be forbidden or have some limitations. So I thought that wasn't enough. But if I create a relationship for each previous escalation technique, you find this crazy node, you find these crazy graphs. So I don't know, what you think? You think like one is enough, and if you want more, you just search for them, or it's okay to have this crazy thing?
So this crazy thing, I agree with you, is probably hard to digest and understand. As you mentioned, if we could just roll with one right off the bat, does that help? And then maybe just, hey, some indicator, some notification, some slider or drop down that's like, you have other options here, and then let you kind of move along and switch to one or another, so it doesn't look like this abomination. This is a COVID-19 genetic variation thing. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Sorry.
Yeah, this is how COVID privilege escalate against society, man. So many vectors.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get your point.
I think that might be some middle ground, but regardless, this is incredible to see. I know everyone listening in is probably super excited to see once you pour in a lot more AWS or the Amazon Web Services one. But even this on its own, seeing the PrivEsc from Kubernetes to that is mind-blowing in my mind.
Thank you. It also blew my mind several times until I figured out what was not working. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, everything is reduced to have a very nice interface where you can just prepare these kind of things like, okay, yes, let me see other previous escalation techniques, but not all at the same time. But I don't know how to do that, and I don't like how to figure that out. So community, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So, and this is pretty similar to the AWS one, but in this case, we are previous escalation to GCP. So here you can find that, okay, yeah, this service account is going to be able to previous because the reasons that yeah, these are anonymized, but you will find them, can previous escalate to this service account. So let me figure out some reasons. So maybe, yeah, for example, in GCP, you can use workload identities to say that, hey, this Kubernetes service account is going to be able to impersonate via workload identities this GCP service account. So that's the main way people is giving access to Kubernetes service accounts to GCP. So this is what this is searching for. And I don't know if I also, and I have other technique. This is pretty recent. Well, I added pretty recently. So obviously in GKA, you are running nodes potentially where you are maintaining your own Kubernetes cluster inside GKA, and you are not using this autopilot thing. You're going to attach a GCP service account to the cluster that is going to be accessible not only from the nodes, but also from the pods, which is something I definitely hate, because in AWS, you can just decide, hey, don't show it to the pods, but in GKA, you cannot do that. as far as I know. So if you just manage to compromise something that have some kind of permissions to maybe exec into a pod to create a pod, you can just create a pod, go inside of it, get the service account attached to that cluster, and just privilege escalate to GCP. And this is another way you will find in PurplePanda.
Wow.
There are a lot of techniques, man.
It's so cool and crazy to have that distilled down though, and have it like each of these just ironed out, already enumerated for you. So awesome.
Yeah, man, I couldn't do this by hand. It's crazy to just, hey, take a look to these 200 service accounts and let me know how you can privilege escalate. Like, man, you know this. And we are going to the last part, GCP. Again, I'm not going to do much here. You will have a lot of queries. You will be presented with some nice tables. You should look at them, find some highlights things, and okay, this is weird. This is mainly for purple teams and blue teams. Like, don't try to go to the graphs first. That just try to find weird things and then to investigate them. For red teams, you are very limited. So just trying to grab as many tokens you can. This is I haven't said this about PurplePanda, but you can specify more than one token for each platform.
Ooh.
And this is meant for red team. So if you find, okay, I have these 3 tokens that were leaked, you can just specify them in the environment variable, and PurplePanda is going to recursively use them and get everything into the same.
That's awesome.
Data. It is. I'm glad someone is finally saying that. So yeah, I'm not going to run queries with tables.
Yeah, no, the same pictures and all, I think, but that's a very cool idea.
But let's see some graphs about GCP, and we will finish with this PurplePanda thing. Okay, this is very similar to the exposed things we have already checked in Kubernetes. Here, what we are checking is open firewall rules that are related to some network, which is related to some subnetwork, which have some compute instances. So here we are going to see all the potentially exposed compute instances that you have in your environment. So here we have some firewall rule. In this case, okay, allow it, everything, cool. Which is connected to this network, which is connected to this subnetwork. And here you can, I pressed the button and this just frozen because of the data that it has. But here you can find all the virtual machines you have just exposed to the internet. Usually people use these tools in GitHub that just have these spreadsheets, and you just get crazy following the spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to paint that in a beautiful graph.
Cool.
But yeah, obviously this is not a very clear privilege escalation vector. So I am going to check. Okay, this one. I think in all of the conferences, in all of the talks I have seen about GCP, people always say the same thing. Be careful, don't give permissions to service accounts in a project to other projects.
Multiple projects,
yeah. Be very careful what you are doing. So here we can just find all the service accounts that has permissions over not over other projects, but over other resources that are in other projects or other projects. And here, this is very easy to understand. Here we have a service account. And here we have that it have some kind of, actually we have BigQuery job user role against the, this is a project. No, then this is the one. This is the organization. We are giving permissions over all the organizations, but also we have here, we are giving permissions over a folder or over a storage. So here we can find that these service accounts that belongs to some project have some kind of permissions, storage of object viewer, against this storage bucket, which is in a different project. this is awesome, just to find out what you are doing wrong.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting, man, because something a lot of people don't enjoy from GCP is that you cannot just say, hey, give me all the permissions this service account has. You cannot do that. You can just say, hey, give me all the permissions people have against this bucket. And once you have mapped the entire organization, you will know exactly the permissions the service account is doing. And this is completely crazy. And that's what PurplePanda is trying to do.
So you're telling me you've just solved a problem that Google hasn't in GCPs? That's great. That's cool to get the
and
big
I,
picture.
and I put graphs.
That's true. Pretty colors, pretty polka dots.
Oh man, I just need to create things with colors or people will hate me.
Hey, the colors definitely help. So
Yeah. And that is a thing that I need to give it to Neo4j Bloom. I didn't decide the colors. They just automatically put
yeah,
the assign a
yeah.
color to everything. So that's pretty cool to see it. Cool. More previous escalation things. Full previous. Okay, okay. So I was thinking like, okay, this tool is kind of similar to Bloodhound.
Yeah.
Obviously, I need a better interface, and there are a lot of things to improve. But hey, it can be a school of Bloodhound, or even better if I keep adding a lot of cloud stuff and people help me and whatever. But I was like, what people love from Bloodhound? People love to say, give me just a path to the domain admin, man.
Yeah.
I just want to be domain admin. So I create this query like, okay, give me the path
Oh
to previous
wow.
escalate against the organization. So here, I guess this is the organization. Yeah. And here you can see that, okay, this user account is a member of this group who has all these privilege escalation techniques. Okay. And here we can see that in this specific scenario, we have IAM service account set IAM policy. Okay, so this group can just change the IAM policy of all the service accounts inside the organization. So you just compromise the organization because you can just pivot to any other service account. So here is the way you can just find, hey, I am this guy. I can just go here and then go here, or yeah,
That's
whatever.
awesome. I'm really glad you mentioned Bloodhound because I was going to bring up exactly that. It was like, this feels like Bloodhound esque, and having that query that's like, hey, show me the easy button, show me the path, the light, the way. That's so cool. And when you mentioned, hey, we could pull this in from GCP for AWS, for GitHub, for Kubernetes, that's massive, man. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's massive and it's awesome, but it's too long, it's too big. Oh man, I don't know when I will get tired. I am just trying to go slowly, just with the piece, man. One addition at a time, and
Totally.
this will get crazy big. Um, Other things I want to show. Well, obviously you can just previous as of GCP, and in this case, as I told you, I have a lot of headaches with Kubernetes because when I implemented it, I just thought it like it was maybe another GCP thing or maybe another GitHub organization, but it's not. The namespaces have a lot of common names between different clusters, and clusters aren't really necessarily given a name. So when I just run this with GKA, another cluster and whatever, I just found that these were crazy. Like the service accounts from a different cluster were in the same namespace. You can just went from this cluster to the other one, and obviously you couldn't do that. So I needed to introduce this, like, okay, let's try to give its cluster a name. If not, I will create it randomly, blah, blah, blah. So here you can see that everything worked because you can just find the 4 clusters I have checked with PurplePanda, and you can definitely see boundaries there. Like you're not going to find, you can go from here to here because they are definitely different clusters. There is no way
Right.
to do that. You need to do and this is basically that. This is okay, and we are going outside. Okay, so this is basically means that this GCP service account is going to have this container pod exec against this against this service account. Obviously, you don't have port exec against a service account, but you have port exec against a resource that have that service account or that can access it or whatever. But I just try to put previous escalation techniques between principals and not between resources. So yeah, this is the way you can escape from GCP to other clusters. And I'm glad you mentioned the easy button of Bloodhound. Here, we could see like I am a red team. I have compromised this service account in GCP. I just want to know the full path that I can get from the service account. This is going to give you that, like it's going to find all the previous escalation and also all the places you are member of and all the previous escalation these memberships can get you in. The problem is that, as I told you, I create one previous escalation relationship between each technique. And this is getting completely crazy trying to find all the things.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm pretty amateur in Cypher queries, and I think you can optimize the query. But it is what it is, man.
I mean, graph databases and Cypher queries are genuinely hard to understand when you just have a ton of data. So, cool regardless.
I will try to take a look, but if some Cypher expert is watching this, feel free to get in contact and just optimize all these queries, because this is getting crazy. Like, it is going to take a couple of minutes, and sometimes you tell me like, hey, I couldn't finish the job, but here you have the results I took. Anyway, I don't want people to be just looking at this beautiful spin around.
Well,
so
yeah. I wanted to ask if that's okay. I know that query, hey, we'll see how far you could get from this user account, from this privilege with this token. When I had done a lot of other things with LinPs and WinPs, again, just taking back this to your original work, there were cases where, sweet, I might do some like quote unquote horizontal privilege escalation, or like when I go become some other user, and then there's value in literally running LinPs or WinPs again to see what can you get from that perspective of that worldview of the environment.
Yeah.
Is there, when I ask this to you, do you feel like that's going to be exactly the same thing for PurplePanda? When you move into a new token and you move into something else that you've gained access to, will you iteratively sort of maybe rerun PurplePanda again to see the new perspective?
I think that is even more important with PurplePanda than with the piece, because usually in an environment, well, LinPs and WinPs are very focusing on, hey, search me what this user can previously escalate.
Yep.
But in the case of PurplePanda, all these like GCP is not like Active Directory. If you get access to a user, you cannot just dump everything and see everything.
Right.
You just have some permissions, and you will have a potentially very limited view of the environment. So if you can just previously escalate to other service account, grab a token and rerun PurplePanda, you must do it, because you are going to find more information, and this means find more previous escalation techniques. And something I would love to put in PurplePanda is the capabilities to automatically escalate to other things that PurplePanda has already found and just rerun it. And just rerun it with everything, or with some kind of limit or whatever.
So like automatically drill down?
Yeah. Like, okay, I can impersonate the service account. Let's grab the token and rerun it. But man, that's a very serious program.
It would be.
Run.
Especially at the scale of like all of these different cloud environments. We've tried to do that sort of thing with PoneCat, like our pet project, Caleb, a good friend of mine, and when we would try to do or perform privilege escalation to go into one user and then see how much more that could access, and literally drill down to each of those. So that is wild. It would be incredible to see this in action, but as you said, that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah. It will be incredible even for me. Did these things finish? Nope. So, okay. Yes, as I said, there are a lot of different queries in the repo. You can just go to repo and search them. This project has incredibly big to do thing,
Mm.
like incredibly last step. But obviously things I want to do. Well, there is to do for people that wants to help. I want to integrate AWS as I have integrated GCP. I want to integrate things like GitLab and Bitbucket, create this wedge base to not depend on Geo for Glue. And this is a good one. Integrate GCR. It is amazing how easy can be, or how can be related something like Kubernetes with GCP, because maybe you just have a registry in GCP where Kubernetes is getting the images from. So if you just compromise that thing, you're going to compromise the entire Kubernetes infrastructure. And if you have tokens in both, you might be able to get to see those things. So that's the thing I want to integrate. Obviously, in AWS the same. Another cool trick I found today. So you have this composer thing in GCP, which is Apache Airflow. So it's running in a Kubernetes cluster, automatically created. This our Kubernetes cluster have a service account attached in GCP. And I just found that the code of the DAG task of Airflow are in a bucket in GCP. So I haven't tried this yet, but I guess that if you just get write access to that bucket, you can change the code and escalate to the service account. And you just need write access to a bucket. I still need to try that.
Yeah,
but
it sounds cool.
it sounds. But yeah, like everything is completely related, man. And I just want to relate everything and make my life easier. Just some as knowledge, if you allow me.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there are some people that have helped me a lot in this project. There is Duncan, my mate, who was already an expert in GCP when I started investigating about it, and he has helped me to solve several issues, and now we are working together to improve the security of our environment. Then we have Mike, which helped me in the same way, but with Kubernetes. A lot of weird stuff happened there, and I need someone to help me figure that bit out. And Bea, my girl, who is the person behind all the beautiful slides I have for the conference. Like I don't do these things. I don't know how she do these things. But also she's the one that actually draw the piece on PurplePanda. And it was her idea to have the piece, like drawing some actual piece.
That's awesome.
So yeah, she always remembered me that I don't give her any credit, so I needed to do it.
The artist behind, excellent.
Yeah, I think I consume a lot of time with you. I'm sorry if I bore you.
No.
But if I didn't, just follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I know you're actually doing it, so don't stop doing it, man.
Well, I know, hey, for everyone listening in, I hope that was just as cool and as mind blowing as it was for me. And then, hey, yeah, they can go follow you on Twitter, Cyberstock in the GitHub repo and all the socials and everything. But wow, man, this is incredible to see. I would, if it's totally cool with you, I wanted to go back to one of your to-dos because you had noted, and I was thinking this as you were showing all the new things you could do, is it seemed like you were always kind of fighting and grappling with Bloom, with Neo4j Bloom.
Okay.
And I know I saw on your to-do, like, hey, maybe we need to grow up beyond and past using Neo4j or Neo4 Bloom. Do you think that's on the roadmap, or are you wanting to, like, oh, rather than using the visualization libraries that Neo4j and Bloom might give us, but do something like viz.js or d3.js and some of that data visualization? A lot of that's going to be reinventing the wheel in my mind to get all the nodes connected, but it gives you a lot more flexibility. Is that what you're thinking with?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Using something like that. Ideally, I want something that is in a web page, because at the end these databases are very big, and I don't think everyone should create its own, but you should just centralize it, and everyone that needs access should access it to the database. The main problem there, man, is that I I definitely hate doing web pages, and I hate wasting time. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
should be more beautiful. Oh, why this isn't happening? Oh, what the fuck is wrong with this CSC? Why is it not working? Why? Oh, it's
Yeah.
always CSS, man. It's always CSS. So it's in the roadmap, but I don't know from where. And actually, there is this beautiful thing that is very similar to what I have created, but for Azure. That I think it's a web application that does exactly that. It has a web application where you can find relationship, ways to previous. It's just for Azure. So in my ideal mentality, um, I could be able to merge their tool into PurplePanda,
Ooh.
do a mix, whatever, and it will be awesome to use what they already have, the application they already have to show the results. But I don't know any guy doing that. I don't know if it is still maintainer or not, and I don't know if they are interested in working with me. But if they are, that will be awesome because they have already done it. We just need to integrate a new database.
Totally. Hey, if they happen to be listening in, or anyone else big in that graph and visualization relationships. Wow, man. Wow, I'm speechless, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Man, I thought this was going to take just half an hour.
No, I mean you have way too much cool stuff to showcase. So much incredible work already done, and even more to do. Is there any more that hey people might be interested in? Hey, getting a chance to reach out to you, a chance to chat, and a chance to contribute and help. Is the best direction? Hey, go check out the GitHub.
Yeah, definitely. I have this to do with things I still need to do. There are a lot of previous escalation techniques I don't know, so I always appreciate if people just want to share it in hack tricks in Purple Panda, just send me a message in Telegram, whatever. I always appreciate that. And yeah, like
Cool.
I'm welcome to any help.
Well, my friend, we've been chatting for a long while, but I, again, can't say it enough. It was very flattered and very honored for you to reach out to help be able to sort of share the stage with you here. This feels like you were like given a tool release presentation at a security conference, and I'm honored to help bring that to I don't know a wide audience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Kudos to you for all your incredible hard work, and it's great to be able to meet you sort of in person, sort of digitally. I don't think we've been able to get on camera together before, but again and again and again, man, huge fan, incredible work with WinPeas, LinPeas, Hacktricks, and now Purple Panda.
Thank you, man. Thank you, and thank you for letting me be here. And you do also an amazing job. So thank you for all you do. And yeah, man, this was amazing.
Cool. We'll tune out for the video. Take care.
Take care. Take care.